Request people to go on mute. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Sri Shailaabhijanamburashishanam Sri Krishna Tatatmajam Sri Shailanve Devanath Sudhya Praptagaman Tadvayam Padabje Narsimhatate Guru Nyastatma Rakshabharam Vittad Vrinda Chakora Chandiramaham Ramanujaryam Shraye Shriranga Sudha Madhu Samaswadayantam Shriranga Mahishi Padapankajatmajam Sulabhashrayam Sadamoda Siddhamadbhutam Bhajeham Gurum Tam Ranganatha Priyam Sukhasanastham Hridayabjapite Chinmudraya Pani Padmam Shubhopavitam Vimalordhapundram Namami Rangam Gurum Mantarange Namami Yoga Samrajnim Vijayam Vijayapradam Srirangardhasanasīnām Karunāmamamātaram Guru Rupa Paranjyotihi Jyoti Rupa Guru Paraha Ajnana Mandiram Hyetate Guru Vijnana Mandiram Mukhaṁ Karoti Vācālam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yontah Pravishya Mama Vācamimāṁ Prasuttam Sanjīvayatyakila Shaktidhara Swadhamna Anyam Shahastacharana Shravanatvagadine Pranan Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Jayatyashita Santrasa Dhvanta Vidhvam Sanodayaha Prabhavan Sitaya Devya Paramavyoma Bhaskaraha Sakrideva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Jayachate Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyaha Dadami Etadvratam Mama Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukyam Shriramadutam Shirasa Namami Vedavedye Pare Pumsi Jate Dasharathatmaje Veda Pracheta Sadasite Sakshad Ramayanatmana. With salutations to our Guru and the Guru of all Gurus. We will commence our session today. We are in the Ravana Trinikarana Sargam, Ekavimshaha, 21st Sargam. And we are basically looking at the response that Sita Mata is trying to give to Ravana. She starts off with Trinamantarata Kritva Prattivacha Shuchismita. She kept a blade of darbha grass between herself and Ravana before she started to speak. And I believe she is taking the role of an acharya or a guru, just like we try to mend the ways of others. If somebody is in the sthanam of a guru, we see that she is adopting all possible strategies to impress upon Ravana that what he is doing right now is not proper. It is not good for him. It is not enjoined in the Aryan way of life. And he better return Sita dutifully to her husband. That is what she says. Nivartaya manomattaha swajane kriyatam manaha. Forget me, you have so many beautiful wives. Focus your mind on them. And she says that I have been born in Kulam Sampraptaya Punyam Kule Mahati Jataya. It is not meet and proper for me to even think of somebody. Naha Aupayiki Bharya Parabharya Sati Tava. Then Sita Mata tells Ravana, Sadhu Dharma Mavekshasva Sadhu Sadhu Vratam Chara. Nallada Panne. Yeah. Satyanna Pramaditavyam Dharmanna pramaditavyam சொல்ற மாதிரி she tries to impress upon him to do dharmam. And she also tells Ravana, atushtam sveshu dareshu chapalam chalitendriyam. If you continue in this manner, your own current wives will not look at you in a proper manner. You are not going to be the role model. And finally, she starts to tell about Ramachandra, isn't it? Evam tvam papakarmanam vakshanti nikrita janaha. And then shakya lobhaitum naham aishwaryane dhanenava. I cannot be tempted by your aishwaryam and other things. Ananya raghavenaham bhaskarena prabhayatha. I am one with Ramachandra, just like the prabha of sun is never separable from the sun, isn't it? I believe Acharya Vedanta Deshika took cue from this slokam when he composed the Jaityashrita Santrasa. Dhvanta vidhamsanodayaha prabhavan sitaya devya paramavyoma bhaskaraha. This is the line in Srimad Ramayanam, perhaps, which motivated Acharya Vedanta Deshika for that slokam. Upadhaya bhujam tasya lokanathasya satkritam. And vratasnatasya viprasya vidyeva vididatmanaha aham aupayiki bharya tasyeva vasudhapate. She drops a hint as to the sarvaloka maheshwaratvam of Ramachandra. He is the Vasudhapati, and I am his aupayiki bharya. I am somebody who he has won over by all means, starting with the Shiva Dhanus and later on with the way he conducted himself as her husband. And here aupayiki அப்படிங்கிறது இங்க உபாயத்துவத்தை குறிக்கிறது. Lord Rama actually is using an upayam that through Sita Mata only the dushta dhvamsanam happens, isn't it? Without Sita Mata, Ravana could not have been vanquished. She is the kind of upayam for the Lord to be used. Of course, it has brought a lot of trauma to her, but that is the compassion of Jagannatha, isn't it? I have let my Lord to use me as the upayam. Perhaps that is also a hidden meaning here. Aham aupayiki bharya taseva vasudha patehe. Sadhu Ravana Ramena mam samane dukkitam. So I think we ended in the 20th slokam, isn't it? If I am not wrong. Vidita sahi dharmajnaha? No. 19th. Mitram aupayikam kartum ramasthanam paripsita vadham cha nichita goram toyaso purusharshabha. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So you better return me, and remember that my Lord Rama does not want you to die. Right? Keep that in mind, and therefore think of establishing friendship with Ramachandra. Okay, it's very interesting. She talks of friendship here. Perhaps given the fact that he was a Raja, Ravana was a Raja, and Lord Ramachandra is also a Raja. See how courteous Sita Mata is. She's not saying go become a slave or servant. The first upayam she is using is try to establish friendship with him. Right? How to she is using all possible techniques to entice and attract. But somebody whose mind has been already poisoned, we will know what is going to happen. Okay, let us continue with sloka number 20. Part of sloka 20 and 21. Viditassahi dharmajnaha sharanagatavatsalah tena maitri bhavatu te yadi jeevitumichhasi. So she is, Sita Mata is saying, dharmajnaha, Lord Ramachandra is a Dharmajna, Dharmamurti. Saha Sharanagata Vatsalaha. He is somebody who is actually like a mother to somebody, anybody actually, who falls at his feet and says, I am seeking protection under your guidance. And that is something he is famous for, is what she says here. Jeevitam ichasi yadi te tena maitri bhavatu. If you desire to live, you better go and seek his protection and make friendship with him. Here, this word Sharanagata Vatsalaha comes, isn't it? Many acharyas take cue from this, isn't it? It is interesting to note, of course, here there are many types of Sharanagati. All Iyengars probably on this call, they all know what is Sharanagati, isn't it? The reason I used Iyengar is there are 5 pillars of Sharanagati. What are they? Anukulyasya Sankalpaha, Pratikulyasya Varjanam, Rakshishyasiti Vishwasaha, Karpanyatvam, and Goptrutva Varanam. These are the 5 pillars of Sharanagati. Okay. What is the first one? Anukulyasya Sankalpaha. You are supposed to keep yourself in an Anukula Sthiti, meaning we all, of course, understand that the sum and substance of life is to get one with the Supreme Being at the end of the day. If that is the goal, you try to orient yourself in that direction. That is called Anukulam. Anukulyasya Sankalpaha. You better take a Sankalpa, pledge. And that happens through the Yama and Niyama of Ashtanga Yoga. Anukulyasya Sankalpaha. Then comes Pratikulyasya Varjanam. Do not perform anything that takes you away from this orientation. That is Pratikulyasya Varjanam. Sayadana Sayom Tikurale Chendrodom. We are not supposed to do anything that distracts you away from this goal of life. Then third is Rakshishyatiti Vishwasaha. You are supposed to develop the aspect of Mahavishwasam. That is, I not only believe, I trust out of conviction that it is this Lord who is going to protect me at all times. Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. In whatever desham I am in, and in whatever avastha I am in, this is the Lord that is going to protect me. That is known as Mahavishwasam. Right? That is the third tenet of Sharanagati. The fourth is Kripanatvam, that I am not able to protect myself. I am completely powerless. Right? We should understand that this is a journey going from Prakriti to Purusha. And there is an onslaught of Prakriti, isn't it? Through the Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Buddhi, Mahat Tattvam Marikam, there is always going to be plus and minus due to the impact of Papa and Punya. Right? And we should realize that ultimately we do not have the power. The Creator has the power to protect ourselves. So that is the Kripanatvam that Acharyas educate us to develop. And the last tenet is Goptrutva Varanam. That is, because I have surrendered to this God, I need not seek refuge in anybody else. Right? So that is the Ananya Sharanatvam. So these are the 5 tenets of Sharanagati. Right? Of course, in its true sense, it is applied to Lord Narayana. But just to remember that we are Sanatana Dharmam, right? We have all the Shad Darshanas. And starting with Ganapatyam, Kaumaram, right? Sauram, Shaktam, Shaivam, and Vaishnavam. We are free to choose any of these lords as the true protector. But once you decide, you better stick to that particular God, right? And there is a reason for that, that you do not get distracted from a way of life. And that way of life will automatically take you to this principle of Sharanagatittvam, right? If somebody is a true Sharanagata, that person would understand this particular very important aspect of Sanatana Dharma. And
Ji, Muthu
yes.
here. One quick thought, just a clarification as well, right? இந்த சரணாகதிங்கிற ஒரு ஸ்டேட் வந்து மென்டல் ஸ்டேட் வந்து கேன் பி achieved with those 5 principles what you talked about after attaining a kind of sannyasa, in my view. If I am involved in Laukika and I'm completely intertwined in day-to-day activities, and if I start thinking that God will do everything and absolute surrender, He will take care of myself, that gives me a false facade in front of me, and I am going to what I can say, move away from my duties. So probably the clue, what you have earlier said in Bhagavad Gita, where I need to go through the journey where I need to perform my duties as a servant, as a father, as whatever the role we play. Mature myself to a level where I give everything, give up, done everything. Then if I get into that kind of an absolute surrender, unqualified surrender, then that Saranagati is making sense, or it just benefits me. That's the thought I'm getting.
Very natural question. So it needs a clarification. When we say that Sriman Narayana is the Paratatvam, it automatically goes with that we abide by his way of life, his rules that he has created in the Prakriti, which automatically means it is not only Nivritti but also Pravritti. Both Iham and Param, both are very important. We should not exclude one for the other. And why do I say that? I say that based on who are our role models, right? So if we look around, we need to look at acharyas who have made a significant impact. The very fact that we are talking about these things even after several hundreds or thousands of years is because of the parishramam done by various acharyas. If they had thought that I can only keep myself shut somewhere and I don't need to talk about this and distribute their knowledge and compassion to the world, we would not have got any of this. So therefore, they did not shy away or shun karma. They have been doing karma to the best possible efficiency. When they are doing karma, there is a significant onslaught of many things that will impact that karma, which is basically through, let us say, ego or ahamkaram. And in order for that ahamkaram not to show itself in their way of life or their works, it is important to dedicate whatever they are doing in a true spirit of Sharanagati to the Divine Lord. What then will happen is, whatever they speak, whatever they do, will not merely be tainted by that jiva, but it will indeed be a reflection of the Paramatman. Then an absolute sense of bliss will be seen in every act that they do. This is something which we will see in all the Trimatastha teachers, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Shankaracharya, as well as even going back to the most recent of, the brilliant thinkers, devotees, savants, etc. They have not, kept themselves aloof in a sannyasic mood. In fact, some of the great sannyasis have been the busiest persons we can think of. I am personally aware of one such great person who was true to the spirit, Bhagata Pani Chalta Sadhu. He would always keep moving from one place to the other purely with the intent of transmitting the supreme power with which he was always in close contact with. Now, such people, the aspect of compassion or karuna is simply this thing of differentiating between should I shut myself away, keep myself in a corner, or distribute that joy among every jiva that I get in touch with. And that is where the aspect of karma as a sannyasi comes, but this is applicable in equal measure to all the other ashramas, which is brahmacharyam, grihasthan, vanaprastham as well. In every stage of our life, this aspect of surrender has to be interwoven. That is when whatever acts we do will reflect the true spirit of the Paramatman. So there has been, I would say, a misconception, perhaps over many centuries, is that Sharanagatitam means that it is only related to bhakti and devotion. Therefore, this immediate contradiction comes when I come to the phenomenal world. I am supposed to use my karmendriyas. I am supposed to do action. All the prakriti is impinging on me to say, do this, do that. Right? That is when that onslaught comes, how am I supposed to switch on my battery in such a way that it is always charged in the right manner? That perhaps is the spirit of Sharanagati. I hope that helps, Muthu.
Sure.
I think that's a fundamental thing that we need to always keep in mind. All ashramas, whether it is brahmachari, grihasthan, vanaprasthan, or sannyasi, and all avasthas, whether you are in jagrat, swapnam, or sushupti, it is very difficult actually. Sharanagati as a concept to be practiced is so very difficult, right? If we listen to the spirit with which it was set up, Bhakti Yogam seems perhaps easier than Sharanagatitam. So you are right. எல்லாம் அவன் பார்த்துப்பான்னு சொல்லிட்டு காத்தாலேருந்து காஃபி டீ எல்லாம் சாப்பிட்டு எல்லாத்தையும் மறந்து போயிட்டாக்கா, that is not Sharanagati. We need to be able to link the world of Prakriti, where we do action, with the divine world, right? Through appropriate jnana and bhakti. I think all of these have to flow together in order to realize the true benefits of Sharanagati. Otherwise, it will merely be a concept. We will always have this, doubt in our minds. Is this really required? It is something that is required only for divinity. It is not required for karma. No. I have personally experienced, this is known as A-B testing in our software world, isn't it? Or in anything, there is plan A, plan B. So plan A, do an activity, completely disregard Sriman Narayana, do the activity. Do the same activity, right, with these principles embedded, right? Then I have seen that there is a difference in the outcome. There is a difference in the process itself. But the important thing is we should not stop doing karma, right? The true spirit of sannyasi is somebody who is doing karma in such a high efficient manner. That efficiency is that the jnanendriyas are dictating the karmendriyas. The jnanendriyas are dictated by the supreme buddhi, and the supreme buddhi is dictated by the Lord above. That chain of divinity is infused all the way up to the karmendriyas, where each and every activity that they do will be a reflection of the supreme being. Then there is only going to karma itself will be bliss. There is no need to differentiate between a state of bliss and a state of doing karma. Sorry, that was a long detour, but
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure these questions will linger with everybody. So others are also free to reflect and ask. This need not be a monologue. It becomes interesting if there is an interaction.
I have a question, Raghavan sir.
Please announce your name so that...
Srinivasan.
Oh, Srini, okay, I can see the green border now. Yeah.
இது வந்து you spoke about choosing one God and அதுலயே தான் நம்ம ஃபோக்கஸ்டா இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு. பட் இன் அவர் டே டு டே ஆக்டிவிட்டி வி ஹேவ் லைக் ஒரு காயத்ரி ஜபம் பண்றோம், ஸோ காயத்ரி தேவி நினச்சிக்கிறோம். நம்ம ஒரு கணபதி பூஜை வி ஹேவ் டு டூ as part of our this. So we will think of, we have to think of that God because we can't think of, say, if I chosen Narayana I can't. So அப்போ அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிறப்போ how can we kind of, we are thinking of, you said you had to choose one God and stay with that. அப்போ நம்ம other activities பண்றப்போ how do we kind of change our focus?
Very nice and beautiful question. In our Sampradayam, there is what is known as Panchayatana Pujai, isn't it? The spirit with which we should look at it is that this applies to those who are continuing to be in the world of Prakriti and you somehow want to link with the world above. If that is the goal, then what happens is we have to understand that there are Daivi Shaktis, and these Daivi Shaktis have their origin in the Supreme Being, right? நம்ம இல்லைன்னு சொல்றதுனால பிள்ளையார் இல்லை, முருகன் இல்லை, சக்தி இல்லைன்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது. They all exist. It is just that our own folly that we are sticking to the world of Prakriti, that we are not able to see these gods, isn't it? Paroksha priya hi vai devaha. All the devatas, they like to hide themselves away from us. Okay? Na sandrishe tishtati rupamasya na chakshusha pashyati kaschanainam. You cannot see the Lord with the naked eyes. Right? Na chakshusha pashyati kaschanainam. Na sandrishe tishti. He is not going to stand right next to you in flesh and blood, excepting in the Vibhava Dasha, where he takes the avataratvam. Other than that, he is who is he visible to? Hrida manisha manasha vikrupto yaenam viduramurtaste bhavanti. He is visible in the Hrit Kshetram, Hridayam, and manisha, those who are always in a state of meditative state. He is visible to such people. But the Lord expresses himself through various devatas. And coming back to this question, when we go after the devatas in their particular form and shape, each devata has been given a particular portfolio. Okay? If you look at Lord Ganapati, he is the Adhipati of all Prakriti Tattvams. He is the overlord of Prakriti Tattvams. So the Indriyas in the form of the mouse or the rat, they try to drain us and take us to a negative state. And he is the overlord of these Thiridargal, Kallargal. Okay? So he is actually he knows how this kind of stealing happens. Taskaranam Patihi. And he protects us from such thoughts which try to take away from all of this. Therefore, if we worship Lord Ganesha as the person who is responsible for that portfolio, what will happen? And if you please him, okay, there are ways of pleasing him, and the ways of pleasing him will come in the Ganapatya Agama Priyaya Namaha. Right? The Agama that talks about how to worship that God details you how do you please that particular God. Avarku Rakta Pushpai Supujitam, right? He likes red color flowers. And all, what does he like as a food? இது எல்லாத்தையும் டெய்லி கொடுத்துட்டே வந்து அவருடைய ஜப்பம், அவருடைய தியானம் பண்ணிட்டே வந்தோம்னா, then you get closer to him and you please him. The moment you please him, he will start giving you certain siddhis. And these siddhis have the capability to make you to, of course, they will give you pleasure. They will give you a sense of achievement. But they will also limit your progress up and above. So therefore, if we worship Ganapati as an Adhidevata for all these Prakritis and forget about the end goal, which is attaining the Supreme Being, Supreme Paramatman, then there will be a gap. On the other hand, if you think that Lord Ganesha is also the Paratattvam. He is the reflection of the Supreme Being. And in this portfolio, he is known as Ganesha. If you worship him with this attitude and seek not only dharmam, artham, and kamam, he also will give you moksha. Okay? So that connection to the main circuitry is something that exists. But you as a sadhaka or a jivatma should also realize that connection and worship him as somebody who has that connection. Ganesha already is nothing but the reflection of the Supreme Being. Right? That is what the Ganapati Atharvana Upanishad also says. Atharva Upanishad, right? Yeah. Tvam Atmasi, you are nothing but the Supreme Atman. If that is the mode with which you worship him, then the same Lord Ganesha, who confers on you the various siddhis, is also somebody who can give you moksha. Right? So that is why this aspect of darshanam comes about. So what happens is, it is very, very difficult for us because we live in Kali Yugam, that we may not have enough time, energy to focus on all the devatas. That's why with great compassion, the acharyas have prescribed you catch hold of one God, because that itself will be humongous. To make somebody happy is not easy, even in day-to-day life. So in order to please the divine lords, it is even more difficult. And if you think of 10 different lords, it is not possible in one lifetime. That is the reason why they said, okay, it is not only for dharma, artham, and kamam, but even for moksham, if you are to worship that Lord with the view that they are none other than the Sriman Narayana's reflections, isn't it? In Mahanarayana Upanishad, it very clearly says, isn't it? Atha purushoha vinarayano kameta prajashije yeti narayanad brahma jayate narayanad rudro jayate narayanad indro jayate. So with that connection in mind, everybody is indeed a true reflection of the Supreme Being. Therefore, that is the spirit with which it has to be done. I hope that helps, Srini.
Yeah, correct. So what we can choose one God, but then everything else we do, it's basically a reflection of the same. We should have that knowledge inside.
Yes, and treat that particular God for all the 4 Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Otherwise, you get stuck in the local loop of siddhis. So in this in this particular slokam, Pirati takes the form of an acharya. Apart from the 5 pillars we spoke about Sharanagati, there are also 3 different ways in which you could do Sharanagati. One is Ukta Nishthai. The second is Acharya Nishthai. The third is Swanishthai. And there is a 4th one which is popular in Kali Yugam, which is Kvanashthai. Okay. So the first one is called Ukta Nishthai, is you perform whatever is told to you. Okay. These are the 10 standard things that you need to do every day. And the Acharya will give that list to you. அவ்வளோதான், உனக்கு எனக்கு சம்பந்தம் இஸ் த்ரூ திஸ் லிஸ்ட். நீ பண்றியா, உனக்கு நல்லது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவர் போயிடுவார். தட் இஸ் உக்தனிஷ்டை. அஃப்கோர்ஸ் இட்ஸ் எ வெரி கிராஸ் இன்டர்பிரிட்டேஷன். இதை பற்றி ஆச்சாரிய வேதாந்த தேசிகர் ஹஸ் கிவன் அ கம்ப்ளீட் சாப்டர் இன் ஸ்ரீமத் ரகசிய திரயசாரம். ஓகே, தட்ஸ் எ வெரி பிக் contribution by Acharya Vedanta Deshika. One chapter dedicated for these concepts. The second is Acharya Nishthai. ஆச்சாரியன் லிஸ்ட் கொடுக்கிறார். அந்த லிஸ்ட் நம்மளால பண்ண முடியாது. we are not able to do whatever our acharya tells us, but I am after him. I will seek his holy feet. அவரை விடமாட்டேன் நான். Okay, I will be his padukai. I will go sit with him, live with him, eat with him. That is called acharya nishtai. Whatever he needs, I will take. I don't need to worry about the 10 things he asked me to do, because they will automatically get done through the grace of the Acharya. That is the beauty there. Again, Muttu is thinking about this. அப்போ கர்மா போயிடுமே சார், கிடையாது. அந்த கர்மாவை அந்த ஆச்சாரியனே பண்ணி வைப்பாரு. Okay, that is Acharya Nishthai. And the last one is called Swanishthai. That is, if you are capable enough, to actually go through the path of sadhana and siddhi and have attained Atma Siddhi, Bhagavat Sakshatkaram, then you don't need an external Acharyan. The Lord himself will become your Acharya. That is called Swanisthaya. இது எதுவும் பண்ணலன்னா கொனிஷ்டயம், right? So these are the three ways in which you can do Sharanagati. Pirati is perhaps trying to be the Acharyan here for Ravana.
But how to overcome our prarabdha karma, to understand, to do our karma better now? Though all this are happening, like it can be, நான் போய் ஆச்சாரியன் கிட்ட உட்காந்துக்கிறதோ சரணாகதி அடையிறதோ, major part is dependent on my prarabdha karma also. So how will I overcome that? Or it takes equally a lot of effort to overcome the prarabdha karma, to even understand to do the karma well and get into that state of Sharanagati.
வாரமாய் பழவினை பட்டரு தென்னைத்தன் வாரமாக்கி வைத்தான் வைத்ததன்றி என்னுள் புகுந்தான். Alvar says this pasuram is palavinai is the past karma, and that palavinai has to be cut asunder either through yamas and niyamas, right, or through Acharyan's grace. Your question is, how do I even get there, isn't it? If the palavinai is so powerful that it is making me talk against Sanatana Dharma, right? Sanatana Dharma தேவையில்லை, அதை போய் இது பண்ணிடுற பழவினை, ரைட்? அது ராவணாதிகளாம் அந்த காலத்திலே சொல்லியிருக்கா இல்லையா? இது ஒன்றும் புதுசு கிடையாது. ஸோ ஹவு டு ஐ கெட் அவுட் ஆஃப் தட் சிச்சுவேஷன் அப்படின்னாக்கா, ultimately we should all remember that there is a stroke of divinity that the Lord has given each one of us. அவன் ராவணனாவே இருந்தாலும் அவனுள்ள ஒரு ஜீவாத்மா இருக்கு. அந்த ஜீவாத்மானது ஞானம் ஆனந்த ஸ்வரூபம். Therefore, the hope is that that streak of light will come at least for a minute fraction of a second during the day. Okay, during 24 hours. Even if it comes for 3 milliseconds, it will come. That is the beauty of this aspect. When that comes, right, the Lord gives us the fact of buddhi. You know, the buddhi will also get that. Adada, முழு நாள் நம்ம கெடுத்துட்டோம், ஆனா இது பண்ணிருக்கலாமோ, ரைட், அப்படிங்கிறது நம்மளுக்கு தோணும். அவர் புத்தி will keep informing us for fractions of second that perhaps, you know, you can get aligned to this direction. And what happens is, when that kind of thing gets reinforced every now and then the Lord himself, because he is compassion personified, he will send somebody who will make that even more concrete for that person. And that is how it snowballs. It starts off with a small dew drop, and it will have a snowballing impact. So basically, one of the things is, if we are listening to good things once in a while, that is a starting step. Anukulyasya sankalpaha. அது சங்கல்பம் பண்ணோன்னு ஆச்சாரியன் சொல்றாருங்க. அது பண்ணலன்னாக்கா முன்னுக்கு போக முடியாது. That is very, very important, right? கர்மாவை விட்டுட்டு போனோன்னு ராமானுஜர் சொல்ல. That is what is the very first thing. Anukulyasya sankalpaha. Then comes pratikulyasya. வேணும்ட்டு போய் விழக்கூடாது. Pratikulyasya varjanam. So therefore, prarabdha karma can be won over with the grace of the Lord. Prarabdha karma is something which is giving you momentum and inertia. The wheel has already been set in motion, right? It is going to go through smooth patches and rough patches. But the Lord also gives other conditions which are in the form of satsangam and the acharya's kripai, right? கடைக்கண், அவளுடைய கடைக்கண் நம்ம மேல பட்டுதுன்னாக்கா, இந்த பழவினை எல்லாம் பற்றறுத்து என்னைத்தன் வாரமாக்கி வைத்தான். That is something will automatically happen, and it need not manifest to ourselves. We need not be aware that this is happening, by the way, right? That jnanam will come only the more we become inward. That karma kaipu, right? The aspect of subtracting karma will continue to happen with or without our knowledge. So that is something perhaps is what I can tell here. Okay. So I think so Sharanagata Vatsala, what I wanted to communicate, I'll just conclude if it's okay to take a few more minutes, is the word Sharanagata Vatsalaha is used by Pirati here is another important indication of who Lord Ramachandra is. Apart from saying he's a Vasudhapati, right? He's a Jagatrayapati, etc. Here, a very important attribute which will only befit the Lord of the universe is Sharanagata Vatsalaha. So she uses that word. The only history in Srimad Ramayanam which perhaps is getting closer to this is the episode on Kagasuran, right? He tried to harm Pirati, and he had to go from one world to the other, and finally, right, he had to come back and surrender to Lord Ramachandra. So perhaps Sita Mata is using that as an evidence to call him a Sharanagata Vatsala. My mind says no, right? The fact is that if you look at the 5 pillars of Sharanagati, I believe none of them was applicable to Kagasuran, excepting you are the only one who can protect me now. I'm not sure if Kagasuran practiced Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulyasya Vajnam, etc., etc. So this aspect of Sharanagata Vatslatvam is because Pirati is always with Sriman Narayana, isn't it? Ennenno Janmala Bandham. Isn't it? Nidhi Nadi. There is a song in Telugu. I'm so sorry, but I'm trying to relate to that song, right? Bahuni me vetitani janmani tavacharjuna. Like that, Pirati has spent so many janmas with Sriman Narayana. In her previous janma as Pirati, as Bhumi Devi, especially because she is Sita Mata, right? She has actually seen this aspect of Sharanagatitvam with her own husband as Varahavataram. So my mind says, perhaps Sita Mata thought about that previous episode of herself, right? She completely let herself to Sharanagati of the Divine Lord. உன்னை தவிர யாரும் காப்பாற்ற முடியுமான்னு இருக்கச்சே வராக அவதாரம் பெருமாள் வந்துட்டு பிராட்டியை உத்தரிச்சார். So this is just an aspect here. Of course, in their true nature as Narayana and Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, they have provided deliverance to many, many devotees. And she indeed knows his nature even otherwise. Therefore, perhaps that's the reason why she calls him as Sharanagata Vatsalani. That is something I just thought I'll share it with you as a thought for the day. Okay.
ஒரு நிமிஷம் லைக் இப்ப நீங்க சொன்ன லைக் ஆத்மானம் உத்தரேர் அது வந்து அதுவும் இதே தான் சொல்றது இல்லையா?
உத்தரேத் ஆத்மனாத்மானம் ஆத்மானம் அவசாதேயேத்.
ஸோ பேசிக்லி பெருமாள் நமக்குள்ளே இருக்கார். நம்ம பெருமாள் வேணும்னு நினைச்சோம்னா பெருமாள் எல்லாத்தையும் சொல்லி காமிச்சிடுவார். ஆச்சாரியனா எது வேணாலும் தானே வரும். நம்மளுக்கு அந்த பெருமாள் தான் வேணுங்கிற ஆசை இன்னும் வரல. அதனாலதான் நம்ம மத்ததுல எல்லாம் லைக் சொன்ன மாதிரி we get like deluded or whatever it is. And அதே மாதிரி I just thought I'll share. நீங்க இந்த சரணாகதி சொன்னதுனால இங்கிலீஷ்ல சிம்பிளா எங்க அப்பா புரிய வைப்பா. That is basically 5 sentencesல. You are everything. பெருமாள் தான் எல்லாம். I am nothing. Then third வந்து you are the protector. You can only protect me. You are the protector of the world. 3, you can only protect me. 4, and 5th is Adiyendasan. So in the 5 தான் சிம்பிளா he used to tell. For all this இல்லாம I thought because you started this, just thank you for giving me the opportunity. I thought இது simple words இல்ல சொல்லுவா அப்பா அப்படிங்கிறதுனால I thought of sharing.
Certainly. No, thanks for sharing. And that's a beautiful slokam. Uddharet Atmana Atmanam is something that we have to keep reminding ourselves of, especially when we go through ups and downs in life. But sometimes prarabdha karma can be so powerful that it can try to drag us down. But the grace of acharyas is something that will linger on. It is not a one-time thing. If we get rubbed by an acharyan even once in our life, right, we should remember that that is something which is not a one-time activity. It would have made an imprint for our life. And as you are rightly saying, we should keep remembering these simple principles. They look very simple, but to follow in practice, right, is where that aspect of bridging karma with divinity is very, very, very important. So with these words, unless there are any more comments, we'll conclude our session here today.
Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhakta Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhakta Samsara Chiram Bhava Mukta Guru Charanambuja Krishna Krishna Sendriya Manasa Devam Rakshasi Nija Hridayastam Devam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate
Kayena vacha manasa indriyirva buddhya atmana va prakrite swabhavate karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai Srimannarayana yeti samarpayami sarvam Shri Ramachandraarpanastu. Have a great day and weekend. Thought of completing this sargam today. Only one sloka got done. So, but I submit everything to the Divine Lord, and may He continue to guide us.
Thank you, Raghavan.